Hi, my name is Jasmine Kermooden. I just completed my HCC internship and I wanted to share a little bit more about it. First, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I grew up with my mom and dad, both of whom were disabled. So from a very young age, I knew that I wanted to go into medicine. I took care of them all the time. I watched them go to doctors and I watched them struggle. And I wanted to be someone who could help them, and then now I want to be someone who can help other people go through the things that my parents were going through. I grew up in Southern California in a low-income area. Because of the area that I was in, I also watched my parents struggle with access to care. The hospitals they were going to were not all that great. They did not provide for my parents in a way that quality healthcare should. And then I moved to Georgia, and I moved to a better neighborhood, and I think that my parents got better care there. But I think that's when I started to realize that healthcare had more to do with someone's environment and the social determinants, as we now call them, of health, than just patient care. I then moved back to California to go to college. I go to Stanford University. When I arrived at Stanford, I thought I was going to follow the strict pre-med path, take all my pre-med courses, major in something STEM related, and apply straight to medical school. But I quickly realized that that wasn't the path for me. I am very interested in politics and race, so I decided to declare political science and African American studies as my majors. My goal with this was to understand the relationship between politics, race, and medicine. And studying these allowed me to do that. I gear a lot of my projects towards healthcare in both of these majors. But that didn't mean I stopped working towards a lot of shadowing experiences and making sure medical school was the right path for me. One of my most memorable ones was the Larry Lulof's memorial internship. Here I got an in-depth understanding of renal cell carcinoma. It was a 6-month-long internship. I spent the first 3 months understanding the ins and outs of it, shadowing oncologists and surgeons, and understanding what exactly renal cell carcinoma was and how it was treated. I then spent the last 3 months doing a research project that I guided on my own. There I focused my project on resistance to medications for HCC patients. It then culminated in me presenting to scientists and oncologists on Stanford's campus. My experience with this internship brought me a lot of patient interaction and learning about patient advocacy. I learned this from the doctor's perspective rather than from a family member's perspective, which was important for me. But after that, I wanted to learn more about patient advocacy from beyond just working with healthcare directly, and I wanted to work with it indirectly. And that brought me to applying to HCC. With HCC, I was partnered with Alameda County Public Health Department. In this department, I worked with the Health Equity Policy and Planning Division. With this division, I was exposed to a lot of different things that I didn't know public health departments focused on. I worked with the Governing Alliance on Race and Equity, where the Public Health Department was leading in bringing together other governing organizations within Alameda County to normalize the conversation around race and how race limits a lot of the opportunities that people get. And for us, it was about health access and how race is a limiting factor to that, and things like how your zip code can determine your life expectancy, and a lot of low-income areas just are not great about access to healthcare. I also worked with an initiative called Voting Matters, where our goal was to increase the number of registered voters within the county and show a connection between voting outcomes and health outcomes. I then worked with other people within our department to create a document on wildfires and for at-risk communities, so they would understand what it is that they could do in the event of a wildfire and how they can prepare for it. And lastly, I worked with the county's accreditation board to help the public health department become accredited. That exposed me to a lot of community organizations as I did interviews with them to understand their role in healthcare. Here is the wildfire document that we created, and then you can see that it outlines how smoke harms health, what people can do to prepare now, how they can stay informed, and how they can stay safe from smoke. The goal was to create it in as simple of a language as possible. So we worked with many community partners to see how this can best be used for their clients. My biggest project was with Voting Matters. As I said, the goal was to increase the number of registered voters within the county. I was able to conduct presentations on why voting matters to WIC sites within the county. This was because they are uniquely positioned to interact with clients and get them to register to vote. I also created a social media plan on how to get the word out for people to register to vote, especially before the midterm elections in November. And I also created a simplified voter guide for distribution. What we learned from all of our presentations was many clients don't vote because they don't understand the issues that they are voting on. The voter guides that do come out are too complicated and too long, and they don't have the time to get through them. So the goal was to create a much shorter voter guide that was geared towards Alameda County residents and to get them to be informed and consider voting. This picture is from our social media platform. We were getting all the people within our department to take a picture with this sign that says "I vote because," and they were able to fill it out and tell why it is that they were voting. So for me, it was because I believe my voice matters, but for other people, it was a whole host of different things, and it was served to be inspirational. In terms of what's next, this fall I'll be a senior at Stanford. I am still very much interested in going into medicine as a practicing physician, and this internship definitely solidified that. I will be applying to post-bac programs to complete my pre-med requirements. But in addition to that, this internship made me realize that I want to go into policy making as part of my career at some point and focus on healthcare policy. And I hope that what I've learned from this internship can be carried into that sort of career. Thank you.